Tonight we have a really special opportunity to go right into the fighting near the city of Kurakhove.
Завожу глаза.
Оп, тормози.
Ушла вторая. Без картинки кидаю.
Слушайте внимательно, потому что стелит что-то близко.
In the last few hours before a night mission, it's important to relax the body and mind.
Ну, как-то морально развеяться, а мозгами уйти в другом направлении. Некоторые бухают, мы играем.
So throughout the second half of 2024 and now, without stopping, going straight into 2025, the southern part of Donetsk Oblast, around the cities of Pokrovsk and Kurakhove, have been the scene of the hottest fighting in Russia's war against Ukraine. Unfortunately for the Ukrainian defenders, the situation has not been particularly stable in this area for a while now. We've seen rapid Russian gains, really on another level compared to what we saw in the war over 2023 and the early part of 2024. And now, as President Trump comes in with a mandate to end the war, the race is on to also at the same time stop the Russian advances on the battlefield. Tonight we have a really special opportunity to go right into the middle of that storm, into the fighting near the city of Kurakhove, which was just recently taken by Russians just about a week ago. And we're going to be going with a team manning a weapon that has been one of the most feared when it comes to new Ukrainian innovations. The Russians call it the Baba Yaga, the Ukrainians call it the Vampire. It's a heavy bomber drone and it works best at night. So we're going to spend a whole shift with these guys. They're from the 15th National Guard Brigade, better known as Karadakh, and they've been fighting here for a few months in some of the hottest fighting that has been seen in Donetsk Oblast. They've just packed up the car, we're heading out any minute, and it could be a pretty interesting night. The team of two works out of a village house where local farmers had lived until not long ago, but is now just a few kilometers away from the enemy. So we've just arrived here in this village in Donetsk Oblast. We can't say exactly where it is, but it's in an area where Russian forces, which are moving forward almost every day, are just outside on the edge of this village now. The team has arrived, they're setting up, they've got obviously their electronics, their communications down in the basement, and the Vampire itself is ready to fly. Now that we're here in the middle of the night, the sounds are a bit different to what you hear in a frontline area like this during the daytime. Normally you hear a lot of artillery, some drones, maybe some Mavics, some FPVs, first-person view drones flying around with this high-pitched shriek. But here there's a new sound, and it's the sound of the same kind of drone that this team of two is going to be flying. It's the Vampire, the night bomber. Although it doesn't get the same attention as other drones, the Vampire heavy bomber is one of Ukraine's most successful innovations in the drone game. Developed on the basis of hexacopter agricultural drones by Ukrainian manufacturer Skyfall and now mass-produced inside the country, the Vampire is a remarkably versatile tool. With its heavy lift capacity, the drone can carry much larger bombs than smaller quadcopters, but is also crucial for resupplying Ukrainian infantry with provisions, ammunition, and anything else they need to stay in the fight. Tonight, their mission, while not as spectacular as bombing enemy targets directly, is no less important, scattering anti-personnel mines around Russian positions.
Зачековал? Так, возвожу глаза.
Подставлять?
Да. Первое плюс.
Back in the basement, the pilot, Demon, mans the remote control, while navigator Frenchman follows the vampire's path via GPS.
Как я иду?
Шикарно.
As the drone approaches its target, the connection starts to break up. Russian forces seem to have brought in a powerful electronic warfare station into this area.
Все, картинка отпадает.
Тогда в прямом смысле видимость нулевая, идем по прибору.
Слышно меня, нет? Я сейчас все-таки попробую туда чуть-чуть продавить. Если не получится, будет такая же проблема, то я буду скидывать где-то посреди поля и возвращаться. Не, видишь, та же фигня.
Пробуй обходить.
Так, пробуй обходить. Батарея. Мне кажется, вот там вот на блиндажах какая-то херня стоит. Типа купола. Потому что вот как только я подлетаю к блиндажам, понял. А купол там, ну короче.
Первый пошел.
Ушла первая. Не разрыв. Ушла вторая. Без картинки кидаю.
О, вот это раскрылось. Второе раскрытие. Сейчас скоро кинем.
Возвращаюсь.
Слушайте внимательно, потому что стелит что-то близко.
They just finished their first flight on the Vampire. They're just flying out again at the moment, quickly changing the batteries, changing the payload. But straight away you can see some of the difficulties of this work. Because you're at night, they do have a thermal camera, but still, if there's a bit of fog, there's basically nothing you can see in that camera. So what they're doing is basically just simply working according to the very specific coordinates that they've got for those targets.
Демон! Дубль 2, взлетай, сейчас подскочу.
But still, even though these drones, because they're so big, they're quite resistant to electronic warfare, which is the main countermeasure against drones of all types. The Russians have still got some very powerful electronic warfare in the area, which is making it difficult. It's meaning that the connection with the drone can sometimes be broken, and in that moment there's this nervous wait to see if they can get it back. Sometimes with drones you see the videos on the internet and it seems like that's what their work looks like every time, but this is what it more looks like the day-to-day.
Давай, давай, давай. Вот четенько идешь. По таким же углом старайся идти.
Ну, чем больше целей мы закроем, тем, соответственно, лучше. Если из 6 целей мы 6 отработали, это идеально. Вот.
Ну это очень идеально.
Да.
Это больше
Мы в
фантастически.
любом случае пытаемся работать на максимум.
Над блиндажами не рискуй, лучше вот в район
Хорошо.
посадки. Вот как раз вот это перекресток.
Давай. Первая пошла.
Да.
Раскрылась.
Оп, тормози.
As much as Ukraine is developing and advancing in drone warfare, according to the pilots, stopping Russia's offensive still won't be possible without more combat-effective infantry on the front lines.
Как бы интенсивно, как бы обильно мы не работали дронами, любые бои, любые взятия каких-то территорий берутся на земле. В этом-то и большая проблема. Нам не хватает людей. Если у противника ресурс огромный, огромнейший,
Кончаются, блядь.
да, реально.
Все, на месте.
У них очень большой ресурс. У нас такого нет. У нас каждый человек на счету, и какие-то потери, они практически непозволительны.
The next hours pass with a smooth rhythm of work. Loading the Vampire and changing the batteries. Flying out. Dropping the payload.
Вторая.
Returning. Then rinse and repeat. As Russia's full-scale war approaches its fourth year, many in Ukraine and abroad expect that 2025 could bring a negotiated peace in some form or another. But for the soldiers here on the ground, there is still a war to fight, and anything else is a distraction.
В этой войне победителя не будет. Будут просто какие-то договоренности, и если они заморозят конфликт, как это было с 14 по 22, я уверен, что лет через 5 начнется то же самое. Только они сделают работу над ошибками и будет намного жарче.
Ты имеешь в виду касательно замораживания конфликта? Или тоже категорически против?
И я категорически
У
против.
нас погибло очень много ребят. Вопрос тогда за что?
Да, мы слишком много отдали.
Не вижу смысла.
Слишком дорогую цену мы заплатили, чтобы просто сейчас все это, так сказать, на корню обрубить.
Только сейчас.